check it out. What's up, everybody? Super Direct fan here for weekly update number 48 on this Friday. So what's new with the BRZ? Well, if you might be able to tell from the windows, it's filthy. I don't know if it's because of the cold or what, but all the good touchless car washes around me are closed. They're all out of service. So unfortunately, it's not warm enough for me to actually be outside washing my car, so I have to drive around with it looking absolutely disgusting, which I can't stand, but I don't know, there's really not much I can do about it. So it is what it is. Otherwise, the car is 90 miles away from 27,000, so lots of driving still running well, and yeah, so that's it for the BRZ. So other news, well, the first thing is I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a live stream. I'm planning on doing one on Monday night, maybe around like 9 o'clock at night. That way, you know, some of you guys from the West Coast, you know, it's after work and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, planning on doing one Monday at 9 o'clock this Monday. And you know, I figured it'd just be like a kind of a Q&A. You know, you guys can ask me questions, I'll answer. You know, if it gets to the point where there's nothing to talk about, then that's when we'll stop. I don't have a planned end time. We'll just keep going until you know, I feel like stopping, I guess. But yeah, it should be fun. I figure we can talk about some of the Super Bowl commercials and the return of Top Gear, which is on Sunday. Very excited about that. So we can talk about all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so it should be pretty fun. So plan on it. I have never done one of these before. I just watched that dude in blue do his, and it looks to be pretty fun. I think you just go onto the channel and just click it like it's a new video, and you should be able to hop right into the live stream wherever it's at. And if Monday night at 9 o'clock doesn't work for you, you know, it is recorded, so you can go back and watch it, although it's probably going to be a pretty long video, but you could go back and watch the whole thing if you wanted to. So yeah, it should be fun. And if for some reason everyone can't do Monday at 9 o'clock, let me know. If a ton of you say that in the comments, then we can try and reschedule for another time. But unless I hear anything, we're planning on Monday at 9 o'clock, so tune in then for that. One other random little plug that I want to give, about 6 months ago I started a second channel, and I announced it back several months ago on the weekly updates that I have this second channel, but a lot of you are new, or you know, you missed that weekly update and so you didn't get the message. But I have a second channel that's devoted mostly to classic cars, and mostly cars from the 40s and 50s. I do some stuff from the 60s, not a lot of muscle cars, mostly just the cruiser style of classic cars. I really love that time period and car history, and so I like going to car shows and filming old cars. But I know most of you on this channel probably aren't into old cars, but for some of you that are, I have this second channel. It's called Vintage Car Fan, so you just go youtube.com/vintagecarfan. I'll put the link in the description, and you can check it out there. And yeah, I've been doing, I think I have maybe 40 or 50 videos on there now, and I'm getting a lot of good feedback recently, so I'm going to try and start doing them more often. For a while there, it was kind of spotty. I just did them whenever I had a free moment, but I'm going to start doing them more often now, probably every other day uploading a new video. So check it out if you're into old cars. So yeah, I'll send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, so for this week's news, the first thing is Subaru has teased an all-new Legacy that they're planning on premiering in Chicago next week for the Chicago Auto Show, and they have kind of a silhouette. It's like half of the car, you can see the top half, and from this teaser image, it looks a lot like the Buick Regal that is currently out, especially those taillights look like a direct rip-off. Front headlights also are similar to that, so be interesting to see the full car. I'm hoping that, you know, they bring back the GT with a turbo version and, you know, make this car a better handler than the previous one. I do like the newer roof line that is a little bit more sporty, a little bit more aggressive. And yeah, keep my fingers crossed, hoping that Subaru brings us a really beautiful car, because we know, based on their concepts, that they can make wonderful cars. So here's hoping they actually make this one look nice. Next is that Hyundai says they're going to bring a new Veloster model to Chicago. So, you know, they just had the R-Spec version of the Veloster that was out recently. It's, you know, a stripped-down, hardcore version of the Veloster Turbo. And so they're saying it's going to be yet another Veloster variant. I'm not sure what this one's going to be, but it'll be interesting to see that as well. Other hatchback news is Volkswagen is planning a hot plug-in Golf GTE, but it's not for America. It'd be for Europe. And basically, they're going to do kind of like it's like a GTI that has an electric motor on top of it. So they're saying it would have a 1.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which puts out 148 horsepower. And then they're going to have a 107 horsepower electric motor as well. But for some reason, when you combine those two, they say it's 204 total system horsepower to the front wheels. So, I mean, 107 plus 148 does not equal 204. Not sure why. Maybe that you can't have full electric power with the engine or something. I'm not sure. But should be interesting to see. I mean, I'm not going to be able to see them here unless I go over to Europe. But should be a pretty cool design. As long as they keep the weight down on this car, I mean, that'd be a really interesting. They're saying it still have a dual clutch transmission and all that good stuff. So, yeah, European buyers, look out for that in 2015, they're saying. Next is that Nissan has debuted a new engine. This is a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine that makes 400 horsepower. And it's so small that Nismo's president is holding it in his hand in the one picture. It's in his arms. I mean, it's not super light. It's 88 pounds, which is, I mean, it is light, but I mean, for someone to hold, I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration to hold 88 pounds out in front of you like that, but that's what he's doing, and it has 280 foot-pounds of torque as well. Nissan is planning to use this motor in June for their 24 Hours of Le Mans race car, and it's going to be interesting to see how it performs. I don't know how much boost this thing is running, but that is one mighty little motor, so very cool. Next is, now that Fiat totally owns Chrysler, they renamed themselves. So as a corporation, they're Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. So yeah, just nothing exciting about that. It's just worth noting. While we're talking about name changes, though, there's also a confirmed report here that the Infiniti G37 that's currently on the market is going to be renamed to Q40 because, as you know, they're doing these Q names now for all the new cars. They're going to have a Q30, and there's the Q50, and they have the QX50, and all these Qs, and so the G37 doesn't fit the naming scheme anymore. So apparently they're going to keep this same car, but just put a Q40 badge on it, which I guess they're going to have a new car coming eventually, but they don't have it ready yet, so they just decided they wanted to hurry up and put a new badge on this. So I think it's kind of weird, but hey, whatever. I'm glad. The G37, from what I hear, is a spectacular car. I only got to drive a coupe for like 5 minutes, but they're really cool cars, so as long as they keep selling them, I'm happy. Next is that McLaren may be planning a P15 to slot in between the MP4 12C and the P1. And I mean, as you know, they're already developing a car to slot beneath the 12C, a baby McLaren, and so they want something to kind of fill the gap because the P1s are already sold out anyway, and they're extremely expensive, extremely high performance, and the McLaren MP4 12C is a very high performing car, but there's kind of a gap there in their mind, so that's why they're going to be probably making this car. They're saying it would cost, they're guessing, around $660,000, which is, that puts it above Aventadors and all that kind of stuff. So this would be probably close to a hypercar. I mean, this would be really a new level of supercar that, if you think about it, though, it makes sense. You have the very best from Ferrari, which is the F12 Berlinetta, and then you have the Aventador Roadsters. Those really don't get much beyond $500,000, you know, even if you load them up with options and stuff. I mean, you could do custom stuff and, you know, try and push the price, but most people, when they buy an Aventador or an F12, aren't going to go over 500, certainly not over 600. And then the next step is a hypercar, like a Pagani or something, which is into the millions, the Bugattis and all that kind of stuff. And so, for the pretty rich person that says, you know, I don't just want an ordinary Aventador or an ordinary F12, which are fantastically amazing cars, but they want to spend maybe $750,000 or something, they could go for something like this, a McLaren P15. I'm not sure, I mean, they're saying it would probably use a tuned version of the same 3.8 liter V8 that's twin turbocharged that they've been using in the 12C, and I mean, I'm sure it would have some kind of hybrid system like the P1, which is probably not as much as the P1 is what I'm guessing. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. They're saying if they do make it, this is all a report, this isn't official or confirmed or anything. If they do make it, expected to go on sale, I'd say maybe 2016 at the earliest. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Hey, more supercars the better in my book. And lastly is that Porsche has been testing these facelifted 911s recently, including a facelifted version of the 911 Turbo, which just came out last year, and they're already working on a facelift. If I was a Porsche owner, personally, I'd be slightly annoyed that they're constantly facelifting them, because it's like you can't buy the newest Porsche. I mean, the GT3 is sold out for the next 2 years, I hear, and by the time you get, if you order a GT3 now, by the time you get it, they're already going to have a facelifted version of the 911 out. So your GT3 you just got is going to look old. I think they're kind of refreshing a little too fast, especially because there is no need to refresh it. I think the 911 still looks amazing. It's not a car that needs updating because it's so traditional looking and so classic that there's no need to constantly be reinventing the wheel here. So, I mean, it's going to be minor stuff, different LEDs on, you know, different front splitter, things like that. But the interesting thing to go along with these facelifts is apparently they're going to be introducing new motors, or at least that's what the guesses are right now. That they're considering doing turbocharging on the lower normal 911s aside from the 911 turbo, and just, you know, as a way of saving fuel. Instead of the 3.8 liter, 3.6, you know, they're instead going to do smaller turbocharged flat engines, kind of like Subaru. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if they're going to go with 4 cylinders or if they're still going to stick with a 6-cylinder. But it could be a pretty good bargain for the tuners out there. You know, if you can't afford to spend close to 200 grand on a 911 turbo, just buy a standard Carrera in 2 years or so for $100,000 or so and turn up the boost on the turbos, and boom, you have a 911 turbo. I'm sure it won't be that easy, but the possibility is there. That's the great thing about turbos. You fiddle with the boost a little bit and you get a way faster car very easily. So yeah, it's very interesting news. So that's it for all the news this week, guys, though, so I'll send it back to me in the car. So I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here, like I always do. I'll let the school bus pass first, and here we go. Yes, sir. Always fun. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Alright, so correction. There actually is a car wash that's open. They've reopened this one, and luckily I had enough time to stop and get my car washed. So it's finally getting cleaned. So happy.